Oh, whoopsies. Well, yeah, I kind of tweeted out something on Friday, or Friday? No, Saturday. This is something that I was asked last week. I was asked this last week when it came to what if when it came to the Snyderverse, they could license it out, or some other company can handle the Snyderverse. And I went, no, that doesn't make sense, because the Snyderverse is not the IP. It's not the intellectual property. The Justice League is, and the individual characters, that's the IPs. Those are the IPs. Snyderverse is just a version of the IPs, so that just doesn't make sense. You can't really, companies don't do that. You don't just, license out a version of your IPs. Just not something that happens. Well, apparently, yeah, people didn't really grasp that, which, okay, that's fine. And then I woke up on Saturday and saw on my trending page that sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix was on the trending page. And I just kind of went, wow, really? That's a thing now. It's a thing now. Okay. Interesting. So now it's actually becoming a campaign. And I looked in, I was like, wow. And then, of course, I posted a tweet and I put Jeff Goldblum kind of like laughing a little bit from The Fly. And that's all I did. And apparently, yes, it did start some shit. Yeah. My bad. Definitely did some stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, it didn't, it took a little bit. And then finally it reached that side of the fandom that really doesn't like it when you poke fun at things that they like.
Fuck me, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So when it comes to all this, when it comes to sell Snyderverse to Netflix, obviously they're not going to do that, because why would they want to do that? And it's funny too, because at first I'm like, why Netflix? Why Netflix? I mean, I get Netflix because Zach is making movies for Netflix right now, but I would actually see Amazon more take up the universe than anybody, because they have the money. Okay, Netflix is canceling things left and freaking right. They are canceling things like crazy, because guess what? Just like what the CFO said for Warner Brothers Discovery and canceling all the stuff and removing all that stuff right there, is the fact that there was Netflix went on a spending frenzy. So now they're trying to dial it back as much as possible. And so then I was like, yeah, but then you got Amazon over here. I mean, they purchased the Lord of the Rings franchise. They poured a bunch of money into that because they have the money. Because not only do they have streaming, they have Amazon. It's Amazon. So they have that. So that could just fund all kinds of stuff. So I was like, okay, but I guess just because that's where Zach is right now at Netflix, cool, and everything. And by the way, of course, Zach, somebody posted on Vero, and he liked it. So of course, naturally, when any of us who are pushing back against it, we're going to get that thrown in our face, because if Zach liked it, that means it's going to happen. And we're wrong. Right? That's the way it is? Like, no. Zach's just a nice guy. He likes things. He likes when fans post stuff, especially when it has to do with him, he's going to like it. Of course he is. Of course he is. If he likes the idea, cool. I mean, obviously he's not going to discourage anybody. He loves the fact that his fans still talk about the stuff and still want to see more from the universe that he created over at DC. Now, when it comes to my thoughts, when it comes to this whole thing, and I was noticing, like, okay, the people involved and the people that, what's funny, were like the people that were really pushing back on me and even others too, where we're like, wait a minute, this can't be a thing. It's like, well, I mean, obviously they can license their version. I mean, a lot of people, of course, use the whole example of Sandman, Lucifer. They talk about that, how those characters from DC are on Netflix. And I'm like, yeah, okay, they license out those characters, but there's no other characters, no other versions of the characters that are happening right now. It's just those characters in live action. Okay. So right now they're trying to rebuild, or whatever the heck you want to do. What James Gunn's trying to do. They're trying to make this whole universe right over here. So why would they want to sell off licenses to the same characters to another company, obviously they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that unless things get really, really bad. And that was another thing that people were throwing at me too. Is like, well, what about what happened with Marvel and Spider-Man and all that? I'm like, yeah, back in the 90s, Marvel was going bankrupt. So they sold the movie rights to Spider-Man to Sony. The Incredible Hulk, Universal. The X-Men universe, Fox. Okay? They did that because they needed to. And then, of course, they couldn't use them when finally Marvel Studio was kicking ass. They couldn't use them. That's why we haven't really seen them. But, of course, now we have a shared thing when it comes to Spider-Man. They have like a shared contract or whatever the hell you want to call it. And we all know that that's been a little rocky as well because remember that whole hoopla. So people were even like saying that. I'm like, yeah, it's not the same. It's not exactly the same when they're trying to, when Warner Brothers Discovery is really trying to get DC Studios and all this stuff going. I don't think they're going to actually want to license out a version of the character of these characters to another company, especially with a company that probably won't fork over the money for it. You know, and it was just kind of it's kind of interesting. And you know what? I mean, what I'll say, guys, is like, hey, if you want to support that hashtag and everything like that, go right ahead. Okay, I've always said that. I've always said, even with campaigns over the years, campaigns that I don't agree with, I've always said, but hey, if you want to do them, knock yourself out. Okay. I'm not going to. I remember the whole phone calling whatever number to Warner Brothers to request the Snyder Cut before the Snyder Cut came out and the letter writing campaign. I was like, all right, I'm not going to take part in that. But if you want to, go right ahead. I just don't think that's a good campaign. I don't think that was a good campaign. I did support the billboards, the airplane, and everything like that. I did videos on that, and I was perfectly okay with that. And anybody who was like, you know what I like to support right now, guys? I like to support stuff like Project Justice League, Justice Con, what Aaron Bailey is going to be doing. I love that fans are coming out and using their talents to further tell stories coming off of Zack Snyder stuff. And guess who supports that? Zack Snyder. All right? And what's funny is like a lot of the people that were pushing back on me this weekend when it came to my tweet, when I went to look at their page, which of course is just 24/7, nothing but whatever the hell, like this stuff, no support for Project Justice League. No support. So while they're giving me shit, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Did you support Project Justice League, which did raise more money for AFSP and everything like that? And people worked very hard on it for like pretty much 2 years. Did you support that? No, you didn't. So while you guys are spamming a hashtag, you didn't support something like this that a lot of hard work went into, that Zack Snyder also gave full like, hey, this was great. Full praise to you and people involved in that who are very much associated with Zach. No support. No support. Just kind of funny. Just kind of funny how that is. It's like, all right. So like apparently I'm the bad guy for just kind of going like, well, that's not a smart campaign. It's not. It's not a smart campaign. It really isn't. I've seen some people too. And another thing that I've seen too when it came to people that pushed back on me and I look at their tweets when it comes to this, there's some big time narcissism that happens because they always talk about, if you just released the sequels, I will be happy. Okay? These are my films. My films. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, you need to pump the brakes there a little bit because you're getting a little too crazy when it comes to all this. You're sounding a little crazy. Okay? Because it's not your films. It's Zach's films. First off, and it's like, you enjoy them. And then it's just like, it's always like, I, me, my, what I want, you know? And but I'm just saying, like, even if one of these guys that I don't, agree with or anything like that, if they were to do some kind of project, like a motion comic or something that would further what the Snyderverse is all about and everything like that, I would support it. Even if I didn't like the person, I'd be like, you know what? That's cool. Support it. Oh, you're gonna do a charity thing with it? Cool. Support that too, because that's what it's all about, and that's what Zach was always wanting. He was always wanting that. He loves the fact that people can do that and support, and he supports that. That's the way Zach is, And it's just sad because a lot of the people there's a lot of the loud voices were talking all kinds of, they mocked Project Justice League. I saw tweets that said that they don't deserve to do that. They shouldn't be able to do that and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of that. But, if I put like a crazy little Jeff Goldblum, gif, oh my God, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. Holy shit. It's crazy. Entitlement. Yes. But yeah, they worked on it for 2 years, about 2 years. It started off a little rocky. That's what happened. But that's the thing. When it came to Project Justice League, it's not like they were spinning 24/7 on it. Andre, Ryan, all those guys, they have day jobs. They have families. They couldn't work on it 24/7. And that's the thing. So, yeah. And then, of course, like I said, Zach did like it. And yeah, of course he did. I'm not surprised. I knew that was going to happen. I'm like, okay, somebody's going to post it on Vero. Of course he's going to like it. Yeah, sure. But of course he's probably like, yeah, but I'm doing my own thing right now. And that's the thing. It's always about what they want. It's like, you got to think about what people want. And then another thing that I brought to the discourse was the fact that I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Some of you guys turned on Henry Cavill. You guys have already turned on Henry Cavill. You said, fuck Henry Cavill because he was showing up in Black Adam, which is like, a Snyderverse or whatever the hell. You hated on him. When the whole Ezra thing was happening, you turned on Ezra, maybe even Gal Gadot a little bit. I even saw people that turned on Ray Fisher at one point that are pushing this hashtag. I mean, they've turned on things, and then there was like a whole campaign after the whole thing about Michael Keaton, the rumor that Michael Keaton was going to be the new DCEU Batman. They were like doing a whole campaign on recast Batfleck, and I was just kind of going like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here, guys? Like, seriously, what the hell are we doing here? So if we do get the restoration of the Snyderverse, is everybody coming back, or are we just recasting half the group? What is happening? Because you guys aren't consistent with who you're turning on, who's not loyal and stuff like that. It was crazy. I even had somebody who's when I was going back and forth, they're like, well, my issue was the fact that that most of the group didn't like stand up against what was happening with Justice League, but Ben Affleck, he wanted to do a walkout. I almost wanted to say, I'm like, who actually put that info out that you heard? Me! That's right, I did. And then of course, there was a tweet from a certain Twitter handle that was basically called us out as the 40 Club again, me, Steven, and Ben. The 40 Club. That's right, guys. The 40 Club still being mentioned in 2023. The 40 Club was first established in 2018. And for people that don't know how the 40 Club came to be, let me give you a little history lesson. Some people know this, but some people might not know this. This is basically what happened when it came to the 40 Club. I was told by a very, very, very reliable source to Zack Snyder and everything with the Snyder Cut back in 2018 that, I was contacted by this individual, wasn't sure if it was actually legit. I actually did my due diligence and said, like, I don't know, I don't think this is real. I think someone's fucking with me. But after a few weeks, this person said, like, what's your Vero? And I gave him my Vero, and 20 minutes later, I got that lovely message that said, Zack Snyder wants to connect with you on Vero. And I went, oh my God. So this is legit. So one of the biggest questions was, is the Snyder Cut finished? And of course it wasn't. It wasn't finished when it came to VFX and whatnot. So it was told to me that it was about 70% of it was done when it came to the Snyder Cut, and it would cost $30 to $40 million possibly to finish it. So I put that information out there, and of course, yes, some of those guys did not like that. And then of course, SnyderCon happened in 2019, and obviously people were asking about the Snyder Cut and stuff like that, and Zack Snyder himself said that yes, he has a finished cut. So then of course everybody was taking that to heart, and I was kind of like me and a couple of the other guys, a few other people were kind of taking the whole thing when it came to Zack Snyder saying that he has a finished cut he had a start to finish cut, because obviously he had to show something. He had something start to finish. He had a runtime that was hitting on that poster right over there that I have hung up on my wall of 2:14. And then of course there was an assembly cut and everything like that. There was a cut start to finish. But of course I was like, yeah, but I think we should really focus on the fact that, yes, if we're going to get the Snyder Cut to come out, we need to know how much it needs to be finished. So I put that information out there. Man, you want to talk about dogpiling? I got dogpiled on a lot when it came to this. Some of those people apologized. They actually have apologized for some of the stuff that happened back in, like, you know, 2019 and whatnot. It was pretty crazy. So that's how the 40 Club came to be. But the fact of the matter is, we're still being referred to as the 40 Club. And I'm like, God damn, if I knew that, I wish I would have made t-shirts. Maybe I will make a t-shirt. The 40 Club. Who knows? But that's where the 40 Club came from. And it turns out, yes, it ended up being absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, we can actually call it the 70 Club, because that's what Zack got to finish the Snyder Cut. He got $70 million because not only did he finish the Snyder Cut, but he also had that lovely, awesome nightmare scene that he got to add additionally to it. So there was all that. So that's how it all came to be. I know. Should I make a t-shirt? Possibly. But yeah, so when it comes to this whole discourse, you know what? I'm not gonna take to Twitter and ridicule this new campaign all day and every day because I think it's ridiculous. I'm not gonna do that. I just don't do that. You know? Will I poke fun at it every now and again? Yeah, that's gonna happen. Guess what? It's just what happens. Just like, hey, you can mock me too. Guess what? It can go both ways. Isn't that weird? How you can make fun of me, I can make fun of you. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? And we could just be like, hey, okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, maybe I'll make fun of it every now and again. Big deal. But I'm not gonna take to Twitter every day and just ridicule everybody and mock whatever the fuck. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But it's funny, again, like the biggest voices when it came to that, did they support Project Justice League? Did they support Justice Khan? No, they didn't. That's the thing. They didn't. And guess who big time supported Justice Khan? Who helped put it together? Zack Snyder. Because he loves his fans. He loves interacting with his fans. He shows up on the Vodka stream. Just even the day of. The last time he showed up on the Vodka stream to watch Scott unbox his big, huge Darkseid statue. He showed up. Because he likes interacting with his fans. You know? So you can't just pick and choose. Anyways, that's all. That's my spiel about that. That's my spiel.